we create a very fancy oven that controls the environment. But it's one that is able to be deployed anywhere. We started off doing it in rooms like this, and realized every time we did it in a room like this, we had to have a construction project, and it was permitting, and everything was unique. So we decided to do something that was slightly different than that. Let me see if I can get this to advance. Do something. I'll do this, right? So due to our imbalance of trade, there's hundreds of thousands of these laying around our shores. And so we have this resource that we can recycle. So we start with this platform. It's essentially the back of a semi-truck. It's 40 feet long, or it's 20 feet long. And it's about 7 or 8 feet wide and about 7 or 8 feet tall. And it's an empty box we can take and transform into a grow environment. It starts like this. That gives you a sense of the size. And we start to add the insulation that's necessary, the walls that are necessary. These are reflective walls that are also impervious to moisture. And then we also add a non-skid floor. And we, much like a school bus, add an exit window so that if you're in the middle of it and you want to get out, you can get out. If you also want to be able to see out, you can see out. And then we start adding these shelves. And each one of the shelves has in it a pan with these trays fit in. We water them, and then we have lights underneath the shelf above. And so we have 5 to 6 shelves in each one of these racks that makes up a grow container. And we use an LED lighting. This is especially lighting for horticulture. It's specifically for certain types of produce, and we have different ones for different types of produce. It has to do with the wavelength that is used. You can see in the back is an open space, there's a sink there. There's also an onboard composter, lost my word. And the onboard composter allows us to take the root mass and the leaves that we don't use and recycle them as well. So that's a useful piece on the system. We have a germination rack, and we have a space for the grow operator. You'll see here on this side over here, the grow operator is able to stand in front of a window, they have a sink, and they basically do the seeding and the harvesting that you see Lauren doing now right there at that table. It's about a 40-hour-a-week job for one or more people, so they can job share it. The plants really don't care if they're harvested at midnight, they don't care if they're harvested at noon. They care about if they get the water and the right nutrition on a consistent basis. We keep them in soil because it's very tolerant of human air. As you've seen, we have an onboard composting system. We also have an option for an onboard generator, and then you start getting produce. Now this is one of our board members. It's a show we had in Washington, D.C. This is some of the produce that we have. The person in the upper right is our inaugural grow operator. He was 19 years old, learned how to do all this, operated the SuperGrow container for 3 months, had perfect crops every single time, every 30 days. You can see the one in the middle was when I had my hair looking like a bunch of wild romaine. But the thing that's interesting about that is that that was up in Massachusetts at one of our research locations. In the middle of the winter, we were growing luscious romaine produce at that time. And then if you see down at the bottom, you'll see what they call wheatgrass. Wheatgrass, we're actually able to grow this wheatgrass, which is very popular for nutritional shakes and things like that, in 5 days. So we can grow a flat of wheatgrass in 5 days. In a SuperGrow container, we can grow nearly 9,000 heads of romaine lettuce in 1 month. We can grow several thousand pounds of produce, depending on what the leafy green produce is, in 1 month. And we do have tomatoes, and we do have some others, but the one that we're focused on right now is the leafy green. We also have a little additional type of apparatus that allows us to have the hanging produce for peppers and things along those lines. The gentleman you see here is a guy named Ray Nielsen. His expertise is in soil replenishment around the world. He was into organic before it was cool, and he's about 72 years old and has been our chief science officer for the last 3 years, just leading us. He was involved in the National Organic Committee that originally set up the organic standards. Our results are very predictable. We know how much produce is going to occur in each one of those flats every time because we control the environment. And we've gotten a relationship now with Auburn University on a variety of different levels. They're a dining partner, and us. We're trying to find ways to impact the communities around us. So this is emerging right now, and we have a handful of constituents on campus that are all interested in doing something. We really want to start here in Alabama and move on from there. And these are the things that we do. It's locally grown, it's fresh organic, it's year-round. So those are the things that we're actually bringing to the market. I've already mentioned it's not a hydroponic system, but it's similar. It's not a greenhouse, but it's similar. And what we have done is basically taken all that energy it takes to refrigerate and transport the produce, and we've used that energy to actually grow the produce locally. You're familiar with field farming? This is actually a National Science Foundation mega lab they had down in Texas that had to do with the H1N1 virus. They were growing tobacco plants and using it as a way to, so this is mature technology. We've just scaled down to a very modular and local basis. We were up at the EPA's Sustainability Conference up in Washington, D.C. We dropped the grow container right there in the mall, growed produce, and it was showed it off to a variety of people, ranging from local people walking by to military officials and USAID and a whole range of people. So that's the SuperGrow container, and I'd love to answer any of your questions if I can as we're going around. By the way, Lauren's walking around handing out a little bit of produce. Please taste it. See what it tastes like. It's ultra fresh. I think you'll enjoy it, and I can promise you it's healthy.
James, what's the investment, the financial investment in just like one container?
Yeah, the SuperGrow container with the startup for all the seeds and for like 3 months of operating before you actually are able to, in the market, kind of sustain yourself, is a $200,000 cost. And that gives you all the apparatus. It's about a 15-year life cycle of the equipment. So it's something that we see like a tractor that you can also lease. And we have some partners to work with us that are interested in providing that leasing arrangement. The SuperGrow container, if you're dealing with a commercial market, is able to pay for itself and the operator and still provide a profit of about $50,000 a year per container. So that's everybody being paid and all the electrical and all the water and all the seeds and then some extra profit. Now if you want to skinny down the profit and you just want to be able to provide produce to people, then you can look at the operating costs being reduced quite a bit. And the grow container is still going to cost you around $3,000 a month to be able to operate. So.